Well, thank you all for having us, and I have an admission to make. I'm a lapsed Rotarian. I was a member of the Rotary Club that meets at Farmington seemingly every day for breakfast. I didn't say that in case you bumped into any of those people, but looking around the room, I know Gary has been trying to lure me here to renew my Rotarian status.
We only meet twice a month.
Only twice a month for dinner.
I know, that was one of the lures. but looking...
We have drinks.
No, that's right. No drinks in the morning, and vodka was here, which was good. But looking around the room, in addition to Gary, I know Jim, I know Hooja, I've met some new people. Sue, of course, I've known for quite a while. So this was sort of like an old homecoming for me. And it's nice to be with you, but more importantly, I can't thank you enough for what the $10,000 is going to mean for not the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, but for some of the 100,000 people a month that we feed. If you think about that, 100,000 people a month in our little chunk of Virginia, 25 counties and 9 cities. I didn't mean what I did yesterday. We're essentially a wholesaler. We provide food to over 300 partner agencies, largely churches, Boys and Girls Clubs, Salvation Army, who are the retail portion of the network. Without those 300 partner agencies, we couldn't do what we do. The bottom bullet there, at least 85% of the food we distribute is nutritious. I think that's an important thing to remember. Some of you may be old enough to remember that food banks were largely distributors of 10 trillion tons of American cheese, which were hidden in some mountain out west, the surplus food that was provided by the USDA. But we're making a strong effort and sustained effort to increase the amount of nutritious food we distribute, to also include large amounts of produce. My colleague Michael McKee will talk a little bit later about the barriers that confront us and our agency partners in distributing fresh food. The absence of storage space, the absence of coolers and freezers, etc. We have a central distribution center in Verona, where some or most of the 20 million pounds of food we acquire and distribute every year comes. It's then sent to our centers in Winchester, Lynchburg, and here in Charlottesville. The Charlottesville branch has been known as the Thomas Jefferson Area Branch, and it serves the planning district of Charlottesville, Albemarle, and the counties you see on the chart on the screen. But next slide, please, Jim, or Michael, or whoever has the gizmo. Who has the gizmo? Michael has the gizmo. Okay. I'm technologically challenged. That's why I'm supported by a staff of audiovisual experts. Even though, and my kids laughed at me, I was on the audiovisual squad in junior high school, and they said, Dad, you must have been the biggest nerd in the school. But, that's where they went. Film strips. Anyone remember film strips and 16 millimeter movies? I think Chris and Mary don't have a clue as to what I'm talking about. So, anyway, who are the people we serve? The most astonishing number on the screen is that 73% of the clients of food banks served by us, by the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, 73% have at least one person in their home who is working. Now, this should debunk the notion that clients of food banks are the chronically homeless, the drug-addled addicted. It's people like us. It's people who come to the food bank and to the pantries every day who look like us. They look like us, they look like our neighbors, and you don't know who they are. It might be the kid in the back of the classroom who's quiet, your coworker who doesn't go out to lunch with you. It might be the person in the dry cleaner who hands you your laundry or your dry cleaning. It might be the person who has 1, 2, or 3 minimum wage jobs and loses some hours on one, and then can no longer put gas in the car. Can't put gas in the car, can't get to any of those 3 jobs. What happens next? Lose your house? You don't have insurance anyway. And these people every month have to make a decision. They have to make a decision. Can I pay my rent? Can I put gas in the car? Pay my utilities? Buy my meds? Or buy food? Imagine what that's like every month, having to make that decision. You'll see that the percentage of people who have at least one adult working in the Charlottesville area is greater than our entire service area, which stretches from Winchester in the north to Lynchburg in the south, and from the valley, much of the valley, over here in Charlottesville. Households with incomes below the poverty level, 68%, again, of the people we serve live in households below the poverty level here in Charlottesville. Again, you know, who do we know? You know, we know people in the club, in the church, who belong to Rotary, but we know hungry people too. Next slide, please, Michael. Another staggering number. The average household monthly income in the United States is $5,702. Look what it is in the Charlottesville area. An average cost of groceries for a family of four is $904 a month. That leaves $176 for everything else. What can you buy for a month for $176? These are not fantasy numbers. These are numbers that are statistically legitimate, that are captured by a number of federal agencies, as well as by a survey done by food banks across the country every year that literally count the number of people, number of clients who attend or who need emergency food supplied by food banks. Next slide. Look what's happened in 10 years since 2001. The estimated number of unduplicated people served by the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank has increased by 152%. And in Charlottesville, again, in the area where we live, over 27,700 people. I mean, these are numbers that are enormous. You know, we hear about, you know, there's a tsunami, there's an earthquake, there's flooding in the Mississippi River. Those are all disasters, but guess what? There's a food disaster. We are living in the midst of a food and hunger disaster. Make no mistake about it. It's encouraging when we hear young people like Chris and Mary, when we hear folks who are devoting considerable energy to helping those less fortunate. But look at those numbers. We need each and every one of you to be thinking about those who didn't have enough to eat tonight. There are more people than we would imagine. There are more people than we know. Walking down the mall, there's a fellow who sleeps in the foyer of the Paramount. What about that person? A human being, a fellow human being. Anyway, Michael, one more slide, and then we'll do a little demo, and then I'll turn over the mobile food pantry story to you. There it is, 15 million people, 15 million meals, I'm sorry, distributed in 2010, 5 million in 2001. What your $10,000 will do is will enable food to be furnished that will supply 40,000 meals. $1 allows us to purchase food for 4 meals. So you all can know when you go home tonight that what you've done for the people served by the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank is to supply 40,000 meals. Now, Michael, where's our demo to dazzle?
Right behind you.
There it is.
You want some help?
The national average, yeah, we can do this. We can do this. Okay. The average stipend for a food stamp recipient is $7 a month in the United States. What can $7 a month buy? Thank you. We have $7 can buy 2 stamps of broccoli, 2 apples, a tomato, and a bunch of carrots. Now, you're a food bank recipient. You've got $7 to spend. You can buy this, or you can buy this box of Frosted Flakes, which provides how many?
15 servings.
15 servings, breakfast, and all of these ramen noodles. There's more. What will you take? You will take non-nutritious, but more plentiful food that creates, guess what? Obese people. Poor people are obese. Why? Here's one of the reasons. It's expensive to be poor. It's expensive to be poor. Who would take this? Now, another thing. We've seen in our mobile food pantry, which Michael will talk about in a little bit, people don't take the fresh produce. Why? Excuse me, madam, why don't you take the carrots or the sweet potatoes? I don't know how to prepare them. People don't know how to cook anymore.